So good morning, everyone. So today we are going to start a new chapter, that is transportation in plants and animals. But before starting this chapter, I would like to introduce about its importance and why we have transportation. We know that in junior classes you have done that word transportation on road, transportation in water, transportation through air, right? So here transportation word is same, but meaning and relation is different, because here we are discussing about transportation in humans like plants and animals, right? Plants and animals. So transportation is what? A very simple example. Here we are comparing this transportation with a very simple system which is present at everyone's home. We all are having the water tanks, right? We all are having the water tanks at home, right? And what we used to do, we fix it at the top, at the maximum height, so that water can run through the pipes, right? But now if I need the water in the kitchen on the ground floor and the tank is on the top floor, then what we used to do, we used to settle down the pipes, right? PVC pipes and then water pipes, so that the water can run through these pipes and then it can reach its destination in the toilet, in the kitchen, wherever, in the washing area, right? But when the tank is empty, water is not there, we used to fill it with water. How? We have a motor pump at home, right? With which, because it's easy to bring the water from the top to the ground floor, but it's difficult to carry the water from the ground floor to the top, to the third or the fourth floor. So that we used to do with motor pump. Same way, we are having a pump in our body, that is heart. We are going to discuss in the next lecture. So these pipes also we are having in our body, like blood vessels, right? And that water which is moving throughout our house, that is a blood, kind of blood which is present in our body. So these are very similar to each other: transportation of water and transportation of blood in human beings. So dear children, today we are going to discuss about something related to this. Okay, so if I talk about transportation in human beings, right? So today's topic is transportation in animals. That is transportation in animals and plants. Right? Because in science, human is considered to be an animal. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the circulatory system, about human beings. So as you all know that organisms need food, water and oxygen to live, right? Now these substances need to be transported to various parts of the body, and waste product has to be removed from the body, right? So the organ system that transport nutrients, gases and other substances to different parts of an organism body is called circulatory system. So first of all, we should understand the meaning of circulatory system, which is very, very important. circulatory system, right? That is the organ system, that transports what the things they transport: nutrients, gases, and other substances, to different parts of organism body, to different parts of organism's body, right? That organ system is known as circulatory system. If I talk about unicellular organisms like amoeba, that are made up of single cell only and do not need a circulatory system. The body of organism takes in substances from the surroundings by the process of diffusion. Unicellular organisms, they takes in substances from the surrounding by the process of diffusion. But in multicellular organisms like animals, cats, dogs, and humans, they have a well-developed circulatory system, which is made up of blood vessels, and a muscular organ, heart. Right? The circulatory system in human beings has three components that are components of human circulatory system. Human circulatory system. So there are three, right? First is the blood, which acts as a medium to help transport different substances. Then we have blood vessels, through which the blood transport, right? And third is the heart, what we can pump to help circulate blood, right? So these are the three components, dear children. Now one by one we are going to discuss about the important things. The first one that is very, very important, that is blood. Very important. We know that it is red liquid, opaque red liquid that transports oxygen, nutrients, carbon dioxide, and other waste products inside the human body. Right? Liquid portion of blood is called plasma. Liquid portion of blood is called plasma. Right? Liquid portion. And it is a pale yellow liquid that is made up of water, dissolved proteins, and other substances. There are three kinds of cells can be found in floating plasma. That is, first is RBCs, right? Or we call it red blood cells, right? Second is WBCs, or white blood cell. And third is platelets. Platelet cells. Now, first of all, we must understand the meaning of these three RBCs and some information about this RBC, WBC, and platelet cells. Let's start up with red blood cells. As from its name, it's clear. So we are going to mention the points for this. These are disc-shaped cells. They are disc-shaped cells, right? And slightly thicker around the edges. Okay, contain hemoglobin. Contain hemoglobin. Here the meaning of hemo. Hemo means iron, right? Iron is present in it. Heme, H-A-E-M. Heme meaning is iron, right? The abundance of red blood cells is the reason of the red color of the blood, right? They transport oxygen to all cells of the body. Okay, and iron, as hemoglobin contains iron, right? So it is carried to every cell in the body where it releases oxygen. And this means, so here is a complete red color, right? This type structure, so complete red. You can just think over this. There is no whitish and the white, and again here also complete red, right? And they are also known as erythrocytes. Also known as erythrocytes, right? So with a depressed center on both sides, there is kind of biconcave, right? These are the special features. They are disc-shaped, contain hemoglobin, and hemoglobin contain iron. They are also known as erythrocytes. And the most important is transport oxygen. Transports oxygen to all parts of body. Transports oxygen to all parts of body, right? So that is about RBC. Now the next is white blood cells. White blood cells. First of all, they are also known as leukocytes, right? We call it leukocytes also. They are fewer in number as compared to RBC. They do not have a fixed shape, right? Very important. They don't have fixed shape. Don't have fixed shape, right? And they help the body to fight against infection by destroying disease-causing microorganisms. So what we can say, they are also known as the soldiers of the body because they fight with the infections, right? But they are larger in size than RBC. The number of leukocytes increases when we contract an infection, right? So what we can say, helps in fighting disease causing microbes. When they enter in the body, they increase in number, WBC, and they fight with that. And so that's why they can also be known as soldier of the body, right? RBC, WBC. Okay. So dear children, here I'm making a table with which you can note down the number, right? Here is type of cell. Here is number of cells, like RBC, right? They are 5 to 6 million. Please note down 5 to 6 million. and WBC, they are 4,000 to 11,000. Right? Then I am talking about blood cells count per 1/1000 milliliter of blood. That is blood cell count, right? Per 1/1000 milliliter, right? And platelets, that is 1,50,000. That we all are very familiar with platelets, because during dengue and during any other diseases, right, we are using these for test, and we are getting the count of WBC. Okay, now the next is platelets, right? The third one we are going to discuss out. The third component, that is platelets, right? These are the smallest of all blood cells. Smallest of all blood cells, right? And they are also irregularly shaped. Irregularly shaped. Okay. And they are also known as thrombocytes. Thrombocytes, right? Because when we have a cut or a wound in our body, so then they becomes activated, right? And the activated platelets aggregate to form a plug, which helps in blood clotting. So we can learn this. They help in blood clotting, right? They help in blood clotting. So that is a function of platelets. Okay, whenever we get injured, then the blood becomes, that platelets becomes activated, and they stop that bleeding from the body. And one very important thing is, you might have went for the test in the laboratories. Pathologists study the composition of blood and the change in the number of cells to detect various diseases. You might be aware about this. Whenever we suffer from disease, then the doctor always prescribes for the test, and we went to the lab, and there we give the blood sample, and then they detect whether the disease is there or not. So how do they count? They count it by calculating the change in number of blood cells to detect various diseases, because they have a list, they have the process that at what level, at what number that particular disease will be, right? For example, increase in blood sugar level indicates diabetes, while decreased level of hemoglobin indicates anemia, right? So that is the process they use. And one very important thing which I would like to share with you all, and this, it is a myth. You might have seen that veins are appearing bluish green, right? And it is visible. But it's a myth that veins appear bluish green as they contain deoxygenated blood. People usually say, you might have heard this, because they contain deoxygenated blood. But no, because this is because our skin absorbs only blue light from the surrounding. Our skin absorbs only blue light from the surrounding. Hence, it is the only color which is reflected back from the skin. Thus, veins appear blue in color, right? It is not the case that they are actually blue in color, because our skin absorbs only blue light color. That's why they appears blue. Whereas arteries, which is another blood vessel, that cannot be seen from the outsides, as they are present deep within our body, right? They are present deep within our body.